Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 11th day of November, 2020. Well, I had to reboot my computer because the screen froze at about 18 minutes in. I've got all the readings set up here, so I'm just going to go with what I have. I think it's a pretty good one. There's some real interesting alignments here between the runes and the cards. And because of the 11, 11, 22 energy, we're talking about their master numbers. And so I just want to go with that. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I sometimes when this happens, I have to. The memory doesn't go back and the computer freezes up, and so I've just decided I'm not going to simply open and close the program. I'm just going to reboot the computer. So that's what I did. And so hopefully we'll be able to get through this without any interruptions here. But basically, with this 11 energy today, it's magnified. And so, in a sense, if you added them together, you would have 22. And then 22 and 22, right? So profound soul level change today, profound soul level awareness, either where a lot of things are revealed or things become clear or what have you. So, again, collectively we're still dealing with the toddler in the White House doing things. And you always have to, with him, you always have to look beneath in other words, what you see out front is the distraction. So what's he really doing? And when you fire the Secretary of Defense and you get rid of some other people within that power structure, something's up and something isn't good. There's arms sales going to the United Arab Emirates right now, massive amount, billions. So does Congress know? Did Congress sign off? Do they have to? I don't know what the process is, but something is wrong here. The so-called voter fraud is a guy who was paid off to lie, and he's already admitted it. And what is with the 130 grand business of hush money? What's that? Is that just the standard going rate? Is it like scale? What is it for people that are willing to commit crimes for you? What is that? 11, 11, 22. So pay attention to what goes on today. If this is in your life, though, the thing about this, the 22 is also about relationships. And I think that in this 22 year, if you're having issues with relationships, a lot of that is surrounding the guy in the White House and whether or not you support him. A lot of families, a lot of friendships, a lot of connections have basically been severed because of what side of the coin you fall on. And so hopefully within this year, the 22 will make you understand the dual 11s or just the 11, whenever that comes up, the whole month, of November, of course. But what you're looking at is the ability to see the truth and to awaken. The rune for today is Dagaz, which is really about awakening. It's about all doors being open, all options available, all awareness is there. We see Gebo in the center of it, the X, and that's balanced energy exchange. Isa terminates the two ends, and so it's alignment in spirit. But basically, we have the ending of one thing and the beginning of another. So a new day, you can think of it that way. But we also have some carcers or some self-imprisonment. That's one way to look at it. It's considered an evil influence, but I don't. I consider these, instead of evil or not evil or positive and negative, I think of it in terms of spirit influence versus ego. And I think that that's more realistic than reacting in fear and calling it, oh my gosh, it's evil, so let's destroy the reading, blah, blah, like they used to do with, well, witches would have never done that, but geomancers maybe, I don't know. Anyhow, oh, don't write me. Anyway, so, I'm sorry. Witches are just different, We're It's not that we're not capable of feeling fear. We are, but, we just deal with it differently. That's all. But in any event, we're looking at awareness and illumination, and I really think that it is the power over the ego, to focus on spirit and leave ego wanting, to the point that it basically, you transmute it into spirit. You don't go into ego to do that, to convince it. You simply turn your focus away from the ego, and then it's got to catch up and go, hey, wait for me. Maybe I like it over with you. I want your attention, right? Problem is don't give it unless it's on the level of spirit. You want to deal there, that's fine. But otherwise, no, we're going to stay in spirit today, and make use of these 11, 11, 22 energies. But here we have Dagaz. It's the 23rd rune of the Elder Futhark. The next one is Othala, ending the Futhark, the Elder one. And basically, it's that transition in awareness to complete understanding of something. So whether it's something going on in your personal life, or whether this is the collective nonsense we're dealing with still, just be aware of synchronicities today. Be aware of opportunities that are coming your way. They're put in your place for a reason, and maybe it's something that's going to open doors for you today. So let's go ahead, though, and we'll take a look at the cards. I started out pulling the Two of Swords, which is a decision, which is very much like, in a sense, energetically, just like Dagaz. She basically is sitting on her stool, and she's or a bench there, with her back to the ocean, or back to emotions, which is still not quite settled. You can see some movement there in the water. Not a lot. It's not too choppy, but something's going on. You see the maiden moon above, and in its beginning phase there. And then she's got her arms crossed with two swords, one in each hand. Her eyes are blindfolded. She doesn't want any distractions. She's wearing white to denote the purity of intention and the purity of her decision. She does not want to have anything influencing the decision that she needs to make, and so she's making it dispassionately. Again, it can also reflect, one door closing and another opening. That could be the decision that she's making. But make no mistake about it, it's been something that has been emotional. Emotions have been involved in it, or at least a situation that's stimulating it. And now she's got to turn her back to that and make a decision in a way that's just influenced by spirit. And the maiden moon above. The next card that I drew was the 8. The strength card, the 8th card of the major arcana. Here again we see a woman in white, again the goddess, with her crown of it's like a garland around her of leaves and flowers and whatnot. You see the lemniscate above her head, again symbolizing the Dagaz rune. If you were to sort of soften the points on there, the edges on there, you would have the lemniscate. The other card that shows the lemniscate is the magician. But here we have the woman holding, lovingly holding the head of the lion. Its mouth is open. The strength within to overcome adversity, the strength within to overcome the either or nature of life, but the strength to tame the wild within, or the ego within, getting the ego under control. Maybe we'll put that above that card. Carcer. And basically it's taming the egoic reaction to everything. You could also look at that. You could look at it also in terms of Dagaz. You could look at it, if you're talking law of one, you're talking service to self versus service to others. You're looking at both sides of the same coin. You can look at it that way as well. Let's see, what other influences? Because basically, when you see other people, you're looking at the other side of self energetically. Because here's the thing, if the creator is all that is, then everything you see is a manifestation of the thoughts, of the thought pattern of or the mind of the creator playing out, with us as little, pinpoints of creator energy, of creator light, manifested down into souls. And then from there we go and we choose our existence. We choose that overall theme in life. And maybe it's the same one for each you know, incarnation that we have, wherever it is, either here or some other planet or some other whatever, but whatever it is that we're doing, you know, we're doing it on behalf of the creator, so that then you bring all of that back to that information back to the collective consciousness. Again, it's about increasing awareness. It's about increasing the diversity of experiences. So when you see another, you can see it as the other, or you can see that other person as the other side of self. On one level, it can be that each one of us is playing out our own world, and we're just all mixing together our own experiences together, in agreement, in conjunction with, in opposition to. You know, we see that sort of happening in terms of aspects of astrology. So you see these kinds of energetic interactions. Well, that's what we're really doing here, is playing all that out in just a corporeal type of an experience. And so when so it's not that somebody is unlike you, they're the other side of you. And when you see that, and especially right now where people have been so divided, the division is an illusion. And it's, if you just think of humanity as just, and the incarnation is just one big circle, everything is contained within the circle. Okay, so it's not something that is different than you. It's really just part of you, part of the greater human condition, if you want to call it that, of which we have chosen a certain way of being when we're in form. Okay, we've chosen a certain theme. But now apparently we need to either make a decision or close out one end and then open another. And if you think of it in terms of awareness, because swords is the air element, so there you're talking, you know, there you're talking the mind, you're talking communication, reason, balance, fairness, justice, all of that, weighing things out. And that's basically what she's doing with the Two of Swords. She's weighing out a decision she needs to make. She's weighing out a situation that she's trying to consider some kind of solution about. When you move to the card of Strength, you know, you see the lemnis gate above her head, and you're talking about that endless motion. There's no beginning and no end. So that's why this is considered a soul archetype card, because with the soul, there's no beginning and no end. The soul just is. And because the creator just is, right? I love that. That's that part from Course in Miracles where and I'll butcher this, but essentially what they're saying is when we think of the creator, when we say God is, we cease to speak, because what else is there to say? And whatever you wanna call it, God, you want to call it the creator, you want to call it source presence, Allah, whatever you want to call it, the creator, whatever name you have, it doesn't matter. It's just a word to convey a particular concept, and in this case it's all that is, right? And so if you believe that so and I just love that. It was when you say all that is, or God is, or Allah is, or whatever source presence is, and you cease to speak because there's nothing left to say, right? But that's the sort of energy involved in the figure eight or lemnis gate. And here we're basically just taming the wild within, and taming the ego, and again we're going to look at Karser, maybe at least at this point, in that vein. We might change that a little bit. On the other side of the decision we have to make, we have change with the 5 energy of the Hierophant. He's the master teacher, and again we have an alignment with the 2, because just like you see the 2 swords, she's in between them, right? You have the pillars of Solomon, basically, I guess. Well, you do in the High Priestess card. But I think it's the High Priestess card, isn't it? And but here you have the master teacher, you have the Hierophant. Consider the Pope, you have the triple crown of the Pope there. You see the 3 crosses on whatever this white raiment is on him. I don't know what it's called. He's got a lot of power, though. He's wearing a red gown. So the power of the higher teacher, the basically you're talking divine wisdom and mercy and idealism, higher self ideals. So what is the decision then that she needs to make? It's almost like we need another rune to put above the Hierophant, but to let go of maybe the ego within and be able to make a decision that's based on fairness and justice and reason and respect. Today's Veterans Day. I don't know if I said that in the beginning. Blessings to all veterans. My husband's a veteran. And what they do in service to our country is selfless. My husband's from the Vietnam era. He went in just before they ended the war in Vietnam, so he was part of the war in Cambodia, the secret bombings. He was over there working in an ammunition dump in Thailand during that time, and interesting experiences that he has to share there. It's not a safe place at all. But because all the arms, the B-52 bombs, all of it, the napalm, the Agent Orange, all of that was stored there at that base, and I mean other bases too, I'm sure, but at that particular one he was at, and he's humping ammunition, to be dropped to soldiers fighting over there. So, and Lord only knows what else, but yeah, I mean, this is on this day of remembrance. You have to ask yourself, who are we? Who are we inside? Are we the sort that will stand up for our country? Are we the sort that will stand up for someone else? It's interesting because, using my husband as an example here, we both. He was always interested in martial arts, so was I. We both had trained before. And then he and our oldest son, who was actually 4 at the time, he turned 5 a couple months later, but they both began in the 80s training in Kempo, at Parker's Kempo. And my youngest, I think, or my oldest, I think, got to his green belt there. He now is training in jiu-jitsu. But at the time, we had a school. We opened a school, and within that, I got my black belt, and so we both have our black belts. But it's interesting that what you're talking about when you think about veterans on this day is the sacrifice that they were willing to make for someone else. The toddler in chief couldn't be bothered to do that. Oh no. Bone spurs. Oh yeah, right. If you had bone spurs and there's no surgery, then you still have them. They don't go away. And you can't walk around, you can't play golf, you can't, it hurts, right? I've had plantar fasciitis on the bottom of my foot, so I've actually had some little bone spurs, and I think they're still there. I mean, they didn't take them out, so they're still there. And they're not in a place, though, that bother me when I walk or anything. But they noticed when they did when they looked, when I had RA and they did full X-rays, and so I got to see what my feet looked like, as well, and they noticed them. Yeah, that's a bone spur. That's a bone spur. Like, okay, but they say, but that's not why your feet are hurting. It's because they're inflamed. But anyway, but the idea is that it's integrity. When you look at the 8th card of the major arcana and strength, you're talking integrity, as you are with the Hierophant, hopefully. Sometimes kind of keep your mind out of religion there. Just think of it as a spiritual teacher or a spiritual master, because, let's face it, sometimes religion isn't the expression of it anyway, by the powers that be within the religious hierarchy aren't necessarily filled with integrity, but then you have others that are. I think probably the current Pope is, but again, I'm not Catholic, so I don't know this man, but from what I've seen, he seems to be a little different than some of the others have been, and I don't know. He's different, and maybe a little more progressive. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what to think of him, but so far I haven't been too bothered by him. So, but then again, I'm not Catholic, and so I don't know how he resonates with Catholic doctrine with respect to just regular Catholics, everyday Catholics, right? So I don't know, but just from my own limited viewpoint, he seems interesting. But it's strength of character. It's strength to be able to know when something is righteous and when something isn't. And again, and maybe that's the decision that the Two of Swords is talking about. Just how much are we going to imprison ourselves to the past and past beliefs when the truth on this 11 day, 11 month, 11 day is staring us in the face, you see. So I would suspect that today would be a day that you would want to watch out for synchronicities, anything that comes up information-wise, to try to bring clarity to what's going on. Again, take the attitude of what am I seeing, and just look upon that as a distraction. Look over here so you don't see what I'm doing over there, kind of thing, because that's been going on. And if you simply take what someone says at face value, there could be they could simply be deceiving you, and because what they're really doing is they want you to believe that while they're doing something else, while the truth is actually something else entirely. People who take from you are like that. They want you to believe that they're your friend, but in reality they're not. And so maybe the decision you have to make today is one that you need to turn off the noise to, because you, as we see, she's blindfolded, turning her back to everything, to all the emotion, all of the chaos, and I have to wonder, are we going to be going within today and really reevaluating what's been going on in our lives, especially vis-a-vis our relationships with others. 22 again reminds me of relationships, bringing relationships into balance, the two and the two. You come into polarity. It reminds me of the Four of Wands, where you see the couple getting married and you see two poles on either side. It's probably a square, but it looks like two poles on either side, and then you've got the cross garlands in between, right? Well, what are we looking at that? What are we seeing there? Well, in reality, if you're going to come into marriage with somebody, into an alignment with somebody, okay, hopefully you've taken the time to do the work on yourself, where you've brought the polarities into balance. See, there's the twos, right? Bringing your feminine and masculine, or positive and negative, or receptive or projective. And positive and negative is not a value judgment, okay? Not at all. Think electricity. But you're basically energetically coming into a better alignment, to where then you can come into alignment with another person. All right. So you can look at the 22 that way, the cosmic builder. How are we building on this singularity of the soul, coming into intentional harmony with another? If that's not a cosmic builder moment, I don't know what is. And I think that our relationships have taken a beating over yo-yo in the White House. And I think that when all is said and done, when the truth is finally out, because the truth has been there, all right? I won't say most people didn't vote for him either time, and so most people got it. But a significant number of people did not. A significant number of people resonated with him. And so we're going to have to look within and see why that happened, okay? And the rest of the folks are going to have to be understanding of that process. But again, that's going to have to take its own time and its own, choice and decision to do that. And I think that at this point, people say, oh, well, you have to come back into unity. Yeah, we do. But that's going to be a gingerly process, I think. I don't think it's something that's just going to happen. I think that it's, unless we're thrown together for some reason, but I think that it's something that is going to take some time. Because there was a lot of harm done within that whole dichotomy. I mean, from people being attacked and beaten and, physically harmed, all right? There's been that. And so people and the harm that's been done to relationships, the words that have been spoken between people. This has been an extraordinarily transformative time, but it's not to upend the whole process. It's to bring us into complete awareness of how important we are to one another. All right. It takes the strength within to tame the ego and to get out of the self-imprisonment of the ego, because the ego will imprison you. All right. And it takes a return to spirit. If you think 5, you can think the pentagram up with the point upward, pointing up to spirit. When it's inverted, it's not the sign of the devil. I don't know who co-opted that, but that's not what that is. All that is just a focus on form, and the elemental focus on form, and seeing how that's all going to play out. Now, you can think of it in terms of focus on ego. You can think of it that way because, the incarnated life, this form we've taken really is the playground of the ego. At least that's what it's been. It's not really supposed to be. It's supposed to be the playground of spirit, but, some things happened, and that doesn't always play out that way. But the bottom line is, we have a decision to make at this point on this 11/11/22 day that brings us closer to awakening and enlightenment of Degas, releasing us from the self-imprisonment of Carcer. And now you see why I didn't take new cards every time I had to start this thing over. So anyway, I think we did it though. Again, I'm doing this today instead of tomorrow, so it won't be up there tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get the power back till probably 2 p.m. So I don't know. I don't think I don't think I'm able to do that then. It's too late. So anyway, thanks for watching, and look for, I don't think I'm going to do the respiratory herbs this week because of this interruption with the power tomorrow. I'll probably get it ready though for next week. I'm going to do respiratory herbs since we're coming into the cold and flu season, along with the COVID and all of that's sweeping the country. And from what it looks like, even though the vaccine seems to be in working form now from Pfizer over in Germany, we're not ready for it yet. We're not going to have it yet, and it's going to go to first responders, healthcare workers, all of that first. Probably the rest of us, it doesn't look like, at least till next summer maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe the rest of them will get theirs done too, and they'll all be effective. But again, they're still in testing phase. It doesn't mean that it's ready to roll out yet. It's just they've just discovered some really great stuff about it, and we're into that end process now. So we'll see, and so whatever we can do herbally to keep the respiratory stuff going, and again, liver-wise, real important to keep the liver functioning properly during this time. We tend to want to load up with junk and cookies and cakes and, holiday things, right? But I would, do that sparingly right now. Try to keep everything, functioning well in your body, and so that you fortify yourself just in case, you contract this. But, again, if you're practicing safe distancing, if you're practicing wearing masks and not, I kid you not, we were at the store on the weekend, which we shouldn't have done. Peak hours, dumb move on our part. I've seen 2 men, they must know each other or something. They're wearing these little strap things around their chin and stuffed inside. And I kid you not, it's probably no bigger than this. No, it's even smaller, maybe half the size. Maybe this big. They've got a thing, maybe this big, and it's like a clear piece of plastic stuffed into it, and have it sticking up. It's not even. I mean, what's the point, right? Wear a mask, not just a face shield only. It's not enough. And whatever this contraption that a couple of old guys here in my town are wearing, don't do that. Just don't do that. If you want to wear a face shield, that's fine, but have a mask on underneath it. Without it containing your breath to your face, you are transmitting the virus if you are asymptomatic with it. And that's just a fact. So you go through grocery checkout lines where the checker's just wearing a face shield. Go through a different one. Find one that's got a mask on, because you're not safe in that line. If that person is ill and they don't realize it, they're shedding virus all over that whole area because it's not contained. You've got the shield and there's all this gap around it, right? You don't see healthcare workers doing that. You see them with a shield and a face mask for a reason. So don't think that you can do this and it's enough, because it isn't. All right? So anyhow, please wear a mask. Continue to do so. And then we'll all get through it. You know, if we all would have just done that, the virus would have burned itself out. It would have nowhere to go. With a face shield only, it has everywhere to go. So just, wear a mask. It's not a personal sovereignty issue. It's safety, it's security. And for the love of all that's holy, be the veteran, be the military person who sacrificed for the country. Wear a mask. Think of it that way. Whatever you gotta tell yourself, wear a mask. Please. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you on Sunday when I do Esoteric Influences on Sunday. I'll have that up. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, that's what goes out, is Esoteric Influences in your inbox on Sundays. So I'm going to get that done here, and I've got all my preparation for it. And I just got to do the interpretations now, and so anyway, I will get that done. And the magical forecast for today will go up. I'll probably go ahead and do one for tomorrow as well, simply because I don't know when my power is going to come back on, for sure. And because if they run into trouble, it could be longer than 5 hours, which is just going to be joyful, isn't it? So I'll probably go ahead and do that one today and get that posted up there. And so look for that. And then, but again, the sign up for the newsletters on the blog over there on the left side panel. I think it's above the videos, because that's where I put my videos too. And then the posts are all on the main body of it. But just look there. If you want to get that in your inbox, just put your email in there. I don't bother you otherwise. I'm not into that. I'm an affiliate, but and right now there's a Herbal Academy ad for a class that they're offering, so that's on there. If you're interested, there's also there'll be stuff within my blog posts also advertising it. You can click on it if you want to sign up for it. Herbal Academy is a nice place. I'm still doing their mushroom course. It's very cool. They've got a lot of herbalists that put their time and effort into this training, and you can get an entire herbalism certificate from them if you want to do that. But otherwise, there's just these mini courses that you can take, and this is on emulsions. And if you want to learn to make lotions and creams and all of that, you got to learn how to do the emulsifiers. I'll work with that. That's always fun. But mine always come out too thick, so I don't know. I should probably take the course. But anyway. But that's on there. Otherwise, I don't junk it up with other stuff. It's usually just that place that I'll put something on if they have a course that's cool that I think you might like. So anyway, that's what's in there right now through the end of December. I'll run that through that. But that's the only thing you see. Otherwise, it's just the Esoteric Influences. And if you want to have them in your inbox, you can sign up for it. At some point, it may change a little bit, and I might do other things in it. But right now, that's all I'm doing. But again, I might have a little corner that talks about something else or whatever, having to do with metaphysical issues though. So anyhow, I guess that's it. If you haven't clicked subscribe here, I'd love you to do that. And do check out my blog at Stepping Aside, imsteppingaside.com. And all of there'll be a bunch of links, where I'm at underneath the video and all of that. There's also a link to how to make masks, and hopefully that's still an active link. I should check it, but there's just different stuff there. Other than that, I think a couple links to some of my books I've written, maybe that's there too. I don't remember what I've got there. But anyhow, I guess that's it. So we'll see you, I guess, on Sunday for Esoteric Influences, and if not, then on Monday for Somewhat Daily Tarot and Runes. So have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Thank you so much to all of our veterans, and be good to yourself. Be good to one another, and blessed be.